the 6-second brain, so I can't really remember what even the title of the talk was. How to love what you have. Okay. So those that watched earlier are going to find that a little bit strange, because you'll see really what a fish brain when I repeat myself and I say it as if it's like the first time I've ever said it. Okay. So to me, the problem with being human is an identification with the false self. That is the primary problem. There is also the problem with that we also don't receive great conditioning as well from our society. So also our bodies have problems because we get conditioned in ways that aren't productive for us. So say, for example, we grow up in families that don't teach a way, a healthy way to navigate conflict or to express what you want, what you don't want. There's a lot of like suppression, passive aggression, like negative interactions that are acted out. And so there's not a learning of how to have more healthy relationships. That is problematic, but that's not actually the suffering. So, but I am a fan of like recommending therapies and learning how to communicate. And if you go onto my website, there is a reference page of loads of trauma work, working like non-violent communication, like how to communicate, like different therapists I recommend, like body work, somatic work, like all these different things. And I think that it's really wise to work on those things. But even if you worked on those things and cleaned the person up loads and became like very healthy in your communications and the way you see things, there will still be what I would define as suffering. And what I define, and a lot of people that talk about non-duality define as suffering, is the identification with an illusory self. So it's not necessarily conditioning in your habits, although that can play part in it. It's the identification with it, the belief that what is experiencing now is a person that is time bound. So most people walk around believing like, I am this person and I'm going to listen to this stream and I'm going to become enlightened. Like I am here and I'm in relationship with Lisa and it's good or it's bad, or she's this or she's that, or she's wonderful. And so it's always that there is a you, and that you feels that consciousness is inside it, so that you as a separate entity are conscious and separate from everything else. Whereas from my experience, that's not true. Like what is true, and I know that even saying my experience is like, who Lisa, who are you talking about? That's trippy as well. But from the experience here, there isn't something that is looking out of these bodies. So there isn't a somebody in relationship with the world. There is a character which is seemingly in relationship with the world, but there is something which is experiencing that character. And that something which is experiencing we could call consciousness. And that consciousness is vast and free and spacious and has no issues, has no judgment, and it's totally content in itself. I would call it love. Like totally without the need to get anywhere or do anything. It's just love, content. But when it belongs to you, so when the consciousness is not recognized for what it is, when there's like this belief that you as a person are conscious, and this kind of enmeshment of consciousness and that illusory person, then there's always a feeling that you've lost something. There's always a feeling that there's not, or that everything isn't quite okay. that there's something that is lost. So most people, I would say, are walking around in a state of seeking. And what they're seeking for is beingness, is this consciousness, this aliveness, this presence. But what they believe they can find it in is in themselves as a person. So they believe if this person becomes rich, if this person becomes more friendly, if this person stops having anger, if this person has better emotions, if this person releases emotions, if this person does all these things, then I will arrive somewhere. But this isn't true, because there isn't really a somebody there that arrives. There is this appearance of a character that's ever changing and coming and going. And there is this consciousness which is conscious of that. Then that's always here. That never leaves. And it's not something you can find. You can't like take out your hand and like scoop up consciousness or see it as a person. So thoughts can't see it, but yet it is seeing. It's right here. Right here. And it doesn't want anything. It doesn't think, if I'm more rich, if I'm more liked, if I'm more seen, if I feel more conscious, if I have higher vibrations, I'll be free. It's conscious. And that's part of the experiencing now. That's what's experiencing now. So that's part of this whole experience, is there is something in it that's free. It's like Tony Parsons used to say, it's like the open secret. It's like hidden in the best place. It's hidden in that which is looking. So what is it that's looking now? What is it that's experiencing? So who is experiencing? So the person is always like, I am experiencing. And I am going to achieve something in this talk. And then there's something that's watching that person that believes it's going to achieve something. And that something is free. You can't find it. You can't grab hold of it. So to me, to live a happier life, it's connecting with that. But it's not like there is something, a you, that needs to connect with it. It's just that it's seemingly veiled because of this energy that is attaching to a person. So it's waking up. I don't know what you call back to that. You could also say becoming more present, because consciousness is always present, it's always here. And what most people are doing is they're lost in thought, they're lost in what's coming, what's going to happen, they're lost in this energy of like, I've got to get somewhere. Like they can't quite relax. They're always in thought, in stories, them, me, 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 me. I forget to teach that. But they're lost in time, in thoughts. And so when there is this waking up, you could say like there's a part that's always present, like really super present, like not a practice of present, it just is here, alive, awake. And when you're going through the process of apparently waking up, even though there is no you that wakes up, when that apparent process is happening, there is these practices that happen. There is the settling down of the karma, of the conditions and the habits and the behaviors of the person, and then there is a putting the attention in the I am or in the consciousness. And these are two wise practices, but it's not that isn't it. That is a person doing a practice. This is talking about this intimate watching now that's prior to someone doing a practice. So when you put your attention into the present moment or into consciousness or into I am, which I'm recommending you do, even though there is no you that can do it, I'm still doing that and holding that contradiction, even though it feels like you are becoming present. That's not actually what it's about, because there's somebody that's watching you do that, or there's something that's watching you do that. So there's somebody putting their attention in consciousness, and then it's being watched. There is a consciousness of it. If it's appearing in the dream, so what I was saying in the last stream, this is my second stream today, is like, so if I put on a virtual reality set, Lisa is not inside the virtual reality. Lisa is watching the virtual reality. So if I put it on and like it's like a Star Wars game or something, and I'm like Luke Skywalker, like Lisa isn't in it. Lisa is watching the game. Like I wouldn't suddenly see Lisa inside it unless I had like a really clever partner or friend that programmed me in it, but it would be like very strange. Like Lisa is watching, and then there is the game and she's looking in and she is playing the character of Luke Skywalker. So if like, and that's the same here, like in this dream, like who you truly are cannot be in the dream, because who you truly are is experiencing. So anything that's seen within the dream has to be the illusion which comes and goes. So that person that's putting the attention in the present moment is something in the dream, and there is something prior to that watching which isn't a something, which is this consciousness, which is no thing and all things. That's so confusing. I would love it if people asked questions. My Skype is lisacairns12. I would love to speak to people. It's so much easier for me to speak to people. So I'm just going to pin the address at the top of the chat. Yeah, so please, like, you can send a friendship request on Skype. I would love to do it on Zoom, but I can't, because an inappropriate thing happened on Zoom when I tried to do that. So like if you call me in Skype, and then I will call you, and I'm super eager to speak to you so I can point you back to this. You can also write questions on the chat, but please put question and then the question after. Danke. Danke schon. Das ist gut. Because this subject is so confusing, and normally when people call in, and I'm not criticizing it, and I'm so happy to do this, they want to actually talk about an experience they've had, or talk about an emotion they're feeling, because there is such a conviction in people that this is about them and that this is about the way they feel. Waking up does change the way you feel. Like it profoundly changed my character, and my character still keeps evolving to that. And like the conditioning's changing, expanding. I still have conditioning. I'm still imperfect and make mistakes and upset people and like do all types of things. But it changed so much. She became so much easier and yeah, just easier, like more thinner, less dense. The character Lisa, that's who I'm talking about. Me, you could also say. And I'm so happy to talk about that, but it's not about the way you feel. Feeling arises in this. It's not about the way that you behave. Behavior arrives in this. It's what is watching that. There is this beautiful, juicy freedom that is here, we're experiencing. Like, hello, 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 YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's see if anyone wants to call in on Skype. No, no one. Okay, so I've forgotten my glasses. Check question. What happens to what we are doing deep sleep or anesthesia? It seems like the consciousness isn't there. Yeah. Like what I would say is that it's not that the consciousness isn't there, it's that there is no form to be conscious of. And there's no memory functioning to remember it. See, when you're a child, like you can't really remember consciousness being there as well. And that's because the memory isn't functioning very well. So in deep sleep, there's no memory of consciousness. So you can't remember it. And then also there's no forms to be conscious of. You can have experiences where you kind of like wake up in deep sleep, which is super cool. And what that does is it peels everything away and makes it see that the root of everything is that consciousness and that sense of I am, and that the person comes after that. So that is prior to the person. So before those types of awakenings, you're so convinced that the person comes first, and then you see like that consciousness, that sense of being you is prior to anything personal. So you can wake up in deep sleep and have no sense of your character at all. And then there's just pure consciousness. But you're not really waking up in deep sleep. It's just you're waking up and there's the absence of all forms, seemingly. Joshua, isn't this talk, as some would consider to be vague mysticism? I don't really know the exact translation or definition of mysticism. I would say in some ways this talk is like the most practical thing that you'll have ever heard, which I think is the opposite to mysticism, because it's not something that's like a belief. It's not like God, where you have to believe in a God in the sky that looks down on you and it's like, you're doing good, you're doing bad, or like trying to find God's word or like live through the Holy Spirit, which to me is like belief, or belief in deities or religion, because this is coming back to your very experience. The problem is you've never been taught this. You've always been taught to look in form, but it's like the most practical thing. There is a consciousness here that doesn't belong to the person. The person is appearing in the consciousness. So to me, if mysticism what I'm thinking it is, then I would say no. I would say as a speaker, me, like I'm quite creative the way I speak, so maybe I make it sound like ooty tooty woohee hooey boohee hooey mysticism, but yeah. So if you're going to write a question, can you put question and then the question, please? Is it possible to be present and awake with psychic drugs, medication? I don't know what psychic drugs or medication is, Petra. If you could just be a bit more clear. Psychedelic drugs, do you mean? Yeah, so you're really welcome to say call in on Skype. My Skype is lisacairns12. There is nobody with no questions. Yeah. You see, this would be the beauty of doing it on Zoom. It's so much easier to get people to speak to you, but the problem is, as a woman, you can't really do a live stream with Zoom because yeah, you get experiences which aren't nice. You can't control it. I think it is a very gender specific, because I can't imagine a woman doing what happened to me in Zoom to a man. Yes, I mean psychedelic drugs. So what was your question? Is it possible to be present and awake with psychedelic drugs, medication? The thing is you're maybe talking about a different thing from what I call awake. So a lot of people in the spiritual circle believe that being awake is putting your attention in the present moment. So that is like a personal effort. And when you take psychedelic drugs, it activates a part of your brain which really distorts the sense of the person. So the person kind of like hallucinates, and like I doubt that the person can put the attention in the present moment, because it's like seeing fairies and elves and horror shows and beauty and fantastic things. So in that regard, I doubt that there would be an ability to put the attention in the present moment. But that's not what I define as waking up. Waking up to me is an energetic shift where there is no longer this binding. It's like an energy that binds consciousness to a person. So there is this consciousness that's free, that's in everything. It's in babies, it's in every goddamn thing that there is. It's always been there. And it's not separate from everything that's appearing. It's to say it's in the wall, it's in the air, it's in the computer, it's in the sofa, it's everywhere. So, and that's what's experiencing now. So the essence of consciousness is expandedness, and it's also a stillness. And in that stillness, everything's appearing and disappearing. And there is like this shift from being a limited person that's moving in time, like I as a person am moving and being a person, to this expansive consciousness. So that expansive consciousness will still be there in taking the drugs, but the person So the character will be going all bonkers because the character is brain chemistry, and if you're taking psychedelic drugs, you're messing with the brain chemistry. So the one that's putting the attention in the present moment won't more than likely be able to do that. Yes, Mohammed. We can speak. One moment, just let me set this up and I will call you. Oh, I'm sorry to all people that ask me to stop that ringing sound. I can't now with this new setup. Ah. Maybe I can. You can ring, Mohammed.
I'm not hearing you well.
Are you not?
Okay, it's okay.
It's okay. Hang on, just let me try. Hang on 1 second.
I'm confused. I'm confused between what you share and what other non-duality speakers shared, like 20 person and Jim Newman.
Okay, so you're confused between what I share and what like more Neo Advaita would share.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying? Hello? Hello. Is that what you would say?
You say that you are awareness.
Yeah.
I think I don't feel that. For example, when sound happening, I don't have a control to hear the sound. The sound is happening, hearing is happening, but I am not in control to hear the sound. When pain arises, I'm not in control to feel the pain. The pain arises and the feeling of the pain arises also.
Yeah.
But without any control from me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a happening. Yeah. The pain is happening. Yeah. Just like everything now is a happening. Like there might be an illusion in you, or there might be illusion in people that believe that they are doing their experience now, that they're putting their attention in the present moment, that they are sitting here. But that's an impossibility. We don't know how the heart beats, or how the eyes see, or how the ears hear. We get told scientific reasons of how that happens, but really it's happening magically, spontaneously, and it's beyond a person that can narrate a story about it.
Okay. Then who I am that experiencer? I can't. The other speaker said you are not. There is no one. Just aliveness. Aliveness is happening.
Yeah.
But you say that you are that awareness. You are that consciousness.
Yeah. But not you as a person. So I don't know if I'm talking about the same thing as Neo-Advaita speakers. Like, I can't be inside their head and claim that we're having the same experience. But I wouldn't say that it's me as a person that is consciousness. Like the me, the Lisa, the character is something that comes and goes. There is this consciousness which is experiencing that's completely impersonal. And it's and when you really like this consciousness and this I am, and you really like experience that, like you can't even really call it consciousness or I am. What you could say is there is this presence, there is this awakeness, or there is like everything and no thing. But I'm okay with calling it consciousness, and even saying that you are consciousness. I don't really care if it's one or the other. It just is words to me. Like in the end, it's an energetic shift. It's not an intellectual shift.
So when this shift happens, when this me falls away,
I wouldn't say exactly the me falls away, because I don't know what that means. So I used to say that, but now I realize I don't know what everyone's talking about. And what I feel more comfortable with is that energy which claims the person to be the experiencer. So the personal, the element of making the consciousness, making the person the center of everything, which is a name and a title and something that goes into time. Like, so it's like the belief that Muhammad is the experiencer, that Muhammad is separate from everything. It's the collapsing of that energy which holds it all together, but it doesn't stop the character. I think that Neo-Advaita speakers would also imply that there's also a character that remains, but I don't know if we're speaking about the same thing, and I don't really mind if we are or we aren't. I can imagine that it's confusing though, because when you're listening, like, I can imagine it sounds really contradictory, and maybe you feel a little conned, or you feel a little like on the personal level, like, why is the one person that's saying this and another person that's saying that? How can they sit together? They're so different.
Okay. You have spoke some word in Deutsch, in German.
Oh yeah? Are you sprechen Sie Deutsch or sprechen Sie Deutsch?
You said Danke schön.
Yeah, Danke schön.
Yeah, but here is ein bisschen. It is Danke schön. It's Umlaut. Schön bedeutet already, but schön bedeutet beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that so nice? Bitteschön, Dankeschön, beautiful. I think it's so nice. Yeah, thank you, beautiful. Yeah, yeah, Dankeschön.
Vielen Dank.
Yeah, vielen Dank. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Yeah, I love that about Dankeschön and Bitteschön. It's like, thank you, beautiful. But German people, when you say that, they don't really, they know that it's beautiful, but they're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for saying that, Mohammed. Yeah, so if there's anyone else that'd like to call in, I really would love to speak to people. I'm sorry that it's on Skype and maybe you don't have an account and it's a pain. Yeah, but I can't use other means like Zoom because of inappropriate behavior from men. Yeah, sorry to be sexist and to call it as it is, but it is the way it is. So please put question if you're writing to me on YouTube, because otherwise I can't see who's written a question. Then I have to read other stuff which is maybe a little dull or a little no, not dull, but like, yeah, not meaning for me to read. Yeah, I didn't mean to say dull. What I meant to say was rude, actually, but then I tried to change it and it came out dull. It's a little rude towards me. I'm sure there's also lots of really beautiful comments, but I think it's best if you just put questions so I can see it and I don't get brought into these other chats. Hi, Lisa. I'm feeling that I am is great. My car is playing up, and Tesco's was full, but I was feeling great and calm inside, and it's a bonus when I came home to see you on TV. Oh, nice, David. Yeah. We don't need life to look a certain way. Like, it's painful, you know. I'm not suggesting that we all live in war. Like, that's terrible what's happening in Europe at the moment, but it's like, and trauma is really terrible, but if you're not in really extreme situations, like, this is it. The car breaks down, so what? So what? That's the way it goes. It's a pain in the ass, and we get it fixed, and yeah, it can be difficult and bring up anger, but there is this presence here no matter what. And it's what's really important. That's the freedom that you've always looked for. It's not in having the perfect car. It's not in life going perfectly or you being perfect. Life isn't. Life could be chaotic and crazy and uncomfortable and weird and stressful and all these different things. But this presence that you are is always free. I'm not saying don't get therapy. Everybody should get therapy. It should be mandated in society. Mandated. Everybody. And please go to my website. There is a reference page with like non-dual therapists, lots of different therapy books, and please read it. It's like, it's more important than mowing your lawn for your neighbors. You know how you mow your lawn for your neighbors? Well, I do. I mean, I don't really care. I don't think if my lawn is mowed or not, but like, I feel like, the neighbors will be upset. I think in some places you have to. It's like a law or something. And going to therapy is like that. It's for it's not only just for yourself, but it's for everyone else. Because if your character is like really disturbed with unhealthy dynamics, you're going to affect people around you. But your life will be happier if you understand your dynamics. So please go to therapy. Read about therapy. Get to know your body. Understand why you're doing things. Understand why other people do things. Understand why you feel uncomfortable in certain situations. But that's always going to change, and you're always going to get new conditioning. And yes, it seems for most people they have to settle down their conditioning to an extent before there is a waking up. For most people, but there's always exceptions, like life. But the freedom, the real freedom, is this presence of who you are. Like this stillness, like what is watching now? What is experiencing now? It's so alive and like juicy, and it's not two. It's not separate from anything. It's so intimate. Everything is that. Everyone is that. So when you're next walking down the street, like everyone is that one energy, but we're seemingly moving as like all these individuals. So ultimately, everything is you. Not you as a character. And all the narcissists are now like, oh, yes, everything is me. I am God. I am God. Yes. I don't mean it like that, not as a character. The character appears in this and is limited. And yes, it's God, but it's God as an apparent limitation, just like a tree is an apparent limitation, but it's also everything. But you as the watcher, and this is so beautiful when you connect with people on that level. You see them as that watcher, as that freedom, rather than seeing them all the time as that person and the character. This is true love. And this is how to be happy with what you have. It's not about getting all these nice things. Like, so I've lived in this apartment for the last like nearly 3 years, and I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed that I have a home and that I have water and heating and food, enough money. But I would say that there's something with this apartment building where the energy is not quite right, like the feng shui, and like the energy in the building is not quite right. But that doesn't take away your freedom. And I can notice it, like as soon as I step out and go into other buildings, and there's other buildings with worse energies, but there's something with this. I don't know if it's been built on a grave or something. But it doesn't take away the freedom. The freedom is the watching. So there might be some uncomfortable feelings in the body sometimes with this apartment, and yeah, it was only meant to be a very short-term thing, and it turned into 3 years almost. And most of it's going to turn into 4 years by the time we renovate the new house. So that's just the way it is. But like it's your freedom is in everything you do. Like, where is the house really but in imagination? Like, where is the bad energies but in imagination? There's nothing wrong with using our imaginations to be able to communicate these things, but it's just that. It's something that comes and goes. What is free now is what's happening. There's this like vast silence and stillness and freedom that's accessible to everybody. And to me, that is not mysticism at all. That is the experience. It's just mysticism to the mind, because the mind's like, wow. Like, that sounds really abstract, because the mind's used to looking in things that it can get. So if it was like a box, it would make more sense. It's like materialistic. It's like, okay, so if my freedom is this box, that makes more sense. But if the freedom is that which is watching, that's like a really bizarre concept. But try it. Like, even if you put your attention in the present moment, more than likely you'll feel better from doing it, unless you've got like very dense suffering in the body, and then you'll just feel really shit doing that. You'll want to quickly run away and do something else. But just putting the attention in the moment. This is so alive, so unknowable, it's so magical. It's what you experienced in childhood. It's like awe with everything. Like, the children are more present, and they get more and more involved in the mind. Yeah. So remember, if you're writing questions on YouTube chat, please put question, and I would love to speak to you on Skype. So my Skype address is lisacairns12, so please sign up for Skype. If you can think of different ways in which we could talk. I can't do Zoom because last time a man was very inappropriate in the Zoom group, and I couldn't control it because I'm trying to do the talk. Even if I get someone to control it, it's still like very complex. Maybe I could get somebody to control the Zoom while I'm doing this. But yeah, if you can think of another way which would be easy for you to speak, let me know. I control it a lot. I can control it a lot better on Skype. So this is from Carola. Oh, sorry, Carola, I haven't seen your message and listened to it yet. No, you sent that quite a while ago. I will listen to it. It sometimes gets lost, you know, in all the messages. Why does consciousness seem to be limited to this body and does not seem to include other bodies? Can it include other bodies now? Hey Carola, yeah, it can include other bodies. So where is the end of your consciousness, Carola? Where does it end? Like, so you're looking at me. Do I appear inside or outside of your consciousness? If I was outside of your consciousness, then you wouldn't be able to experience me. So everything you're experiencing must be inside your consciousness. And this consciousness is so silent. So it's looking through and it's so silent and still. It includes me, includes everything that's being experienced. So what our mind does, and this is why we're taught so many false beliefs, is it says, I am conscious and my consciousness ends somewhere, and then there is another person. But how can that be true? Like, how would you experience me if I was not inside your consciousness? It might be that you're thinking like personal awareness, like it's in your thoughts and your ability to move the screen or something, like a more you-bound entity. But if you come back to this watching, this knowing of everything, then I am inside that knowing, not outside that knowing. And that knowing is who you are. So I'm in it, the room's in it, everybody you see is in that one consciousness. Heidi's on this channel. Yeah, that's not very nice message. Yeah, so please put questions, because there's really some questions I don't want to see. Luckily, they get hidden a lot of the time from you because they're so rude, YouTube picks it up. But that was a really rude one. Okay. So okay. So back to the mysticism question. Joseph says, yep, mysticism might refer to something abstract, not concrete, something the mind cannot grasp. True. It's the most practical, but how can one get it in understanding? Okay, so then maybe it is mystical if it's about the mind understanding, because the consciousness sees the mind. So it is beyond mind, but you can intellectually understand this, I think, which can be really relaxing for the person. But it's always beyond thoughts, because thoughts are seen in this. So if we go back to that virtual reality analysis, so if we put on Google goggles or your virtual reality headset, so Lisa will not be found in the virtual reality. Lisa is watching the virtual reality. So it's the same as consciousness. Like consciousness is watching this, so it cannot be found as a thing inside what it's watching. But yeah, it's all things. The same in the virtual reality. Like there's nothing happening if I'm not looking at the virtual reality. I mean, that's abstract. But it's that which is watching. It's not a thing in the dream. So whenever it's something in the dream, it's gone. That's why when you put your attention into consciousness, you're not really putting it into the big consciousness, you're putting it into personal awareness. So you're putting the personal awareness into personal awareness. And kind of it feels like then it disappears, the personal awareness, and then there's just watching. And that's the beauty of the practice. But it's still a practice of person doing it. It's kind of like what happens when you do that practice a little is that you put the personal awareness inside the personal awareness, and then there's kind of like a disappearing of that person, so there's just consciousness left. But it's not that this person is practicing and that this person is going to get somewhere, because the consciousness was there prior to you doing that. Yes. And sorry, I forgot my glasses. Can't be asked to get up and get them. So remember to put questions so I don't have to read all these comments. Some of them are really beautiful, I'm sure, but some of them are dodgy. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing your experience and insights. You are a very beautiful human being inside now. I love you. Oh, thank you, Edavini. You see, I get so many lovely comments. And let me just say that I get way more lovely comments than negative comments. So it's like I listened to another YouTuber talk about this, because I don't want to sound like I'm being negative. But you get like one person in 2000 that's like really abusive and really like not appropriate, but then they make such a big fuss that it's like so obvious, you know. Whereas a lot of the other people either don't say anything or they say something positive. But then when somebody decides to disrupt things, they make a big disruption, if you see what I mean. Question. I would be curious if the experience of sexuality changed with awakening. I know it's quite intimate question. Feel free to ignore it. Lots of love. I would say yes, because it like awoke her, like with the awakening, what happened here was it was going more into the body, so it sort of woke up the chakras more. But there was still like healing to do after that in the sexuality. I would say what happened is because in the awakening, like, it makes you more in contact with your body, like really present to what's actually happening in the body. And so the chakras kind of wake up more, and sexuality, I feel, is very much about the lower chakras being very active and the energy going up. But yeah, I still had to do healing afterwards of sexuality. Lisa, how is the best way to deal with fear? Constant fear over the future. Hi Maha77, thank you so much for the question. So there could be different reasons for fear. It could be conditioning and the way you were brought up. It also could be genetic. It could be to do with your diet, your lifestyle. Like for example, my belief is, I'm not sure if it's true, but if you've drunk loads of alcohol over time, I would suspect that the body experiences more fear because you're sending off the liver, the kidneys, the gallbladder. So it could be physiological as well. So you also could be missing minerals. So one thing to do would be to go and get your blood tested to see if there's anything physiologically out of balance. It also could be hormonal as well, so you could get your hormones checked. And then the other part is it could be trauma, so you could be stuck in some form of trauma. And that's not something really I could work through with you on a live stream. But if you go onto my reference page on my website, there's lots of psychologists and somatic therapy, trauma work that could help you deal with that fear. But first of all, I think your main goal will be to be understanding why that fear is appearing. Then there could be the more existential fear, which I will talk about, which is the illusion that you are a body. And they might all be meshed together, like, so your fear might be really intense because it's like all meshed together with everything. But the existential one would be the disconnection from who you are as consciousness, so this oneness. And then because there is disconnection from that, you feel limited as a person, you feel very vulnerable as a person. And what it's done over time is it's really increased the seeking. And if you've had difficult conditioning, then it will really increase the seeking around this difficult conditioning. Like, so if you had a very scary childhood or lots of trauma in childhood, then that will be a lot of exacerbation around that. So my recommendation would be twofold. So it's like exploring non-duality, finding out who you truly are, beyond the person, beyond thoughts, beyond time. And then also looking into the health of the body, the psychology, trauma, etc., etc. Yeah, thank you, Maha77. Dan Murder. Question: when did you stop seeking? So there was like a massive shift in 2011, but I would still say the seeking patterns that come up in this body mind. Like, there was a period, I think, where I thought like all seeking was gone, because there was such a profound shift. But then I can see that there's still old ways of being and responding to things coming up sometimes. But it's kind of like coupled with this like intense contentment even with that. But I think it's because, you know, when you're 30, so I was 30 when it happened, like your body's had 30 years of behaving in certain ways, so it kind of goes towards that. So it's kind of like it hollowed out, really hollowed out. So that's how I would define it now. Alisa, good to listen to you. Bon On bonfire night. Is it bonfire night tonight? From beautiful Kent countryside. Yeah, nice, Raj. I used to love bonfire night as a child, although it's quite horrific, the story. Thanks, Lisa. Are you still practicing any formal meditation techniques or exercises daily, or no need? I do breathing. I do Wim Hof breathing, and I also do chakra breathing exercises. And I also have this like headset that I listen to. It's like a MP3 player with these sound frequencies that I listen to. So like after lunch I quite like doing it, and in the evening I quite like doing it. And then I also like just sitting there as well. Yeah, or laying there, depending on if the chair's comfy enough. So I wouldn't call it a formal practice. It's not like I think I've got to do this. I just like doing it. The Wim Hof actually is more of a formal practice because I think that it's really good for your body, and it used to help me with my allergies until I got COVID. Okay, that's the end of the questions on there. Yes, I mean that I-bound consciousness. Hi, Ivan. Would you like to speak? Romina. Have you heard about the event, this great solar flare that will apparently erase all unconsciousness from Earth? Have you ever felt something like this could happen? Thank you. Love to you and Khaleesi. Hey, Romina. No, I've never heard of that. A big solar flare that will raise all unconsciousness sounds fantastic. But no. I don't know. I've never considered it or thought about it. But in 2012, when the world was meant to end, I was in Koh Phangan Island. This is when I got the beautiful Khaleesi. And at that time, I think it was in December, something happened in the sea that gave all the electricity to Koh Phangan Island and the internet and the phone, the cellular, the cell towers, I don't know, everything. And everything got cut for like 10 days, and we couldn't like contact the outside world. That was my memory of it. I don't know if I'm exaggerating it, but I remember it was like so trippy. Yeah, it's not kind of the same really. And then we had COVID, and we've all got that was trippy, eh? From when the streets were suddenly empty. Yeah. Nothing to ask, just nice to see your lovely expression. The background is groovy. Yeah. It's the best I can do in this apartment. Like, I just feel like I don't want to spend money on this apartment. So some people have told me like I should take the background down because makes me seem enlightened. But to me, it's just the practicality, because you can't have a white wall behind you when you're streaming because it reflects the light of the white. So, and I just didn't want to. When you're renovating a house, it's like you gotta wait to buy things for that. Yeah, but it kind of looks cool, eh? She is enlightened. Yeah, so that's the end of questions from anyone. Unless you're wanting to speak, Ivan, you just befriended me on Skype. Hi Lisa, you talk of awakening as an energetic shift. Could you develop on that? Why energetic? Why not physical or existential? Thanks, sorry. Pardon me. Ajna. You know, because I don't know what else to call it. So, so what it feels like is that prior to that 2011 event, 2011, there was like my essence was trapped inside this body, but it didn't feel trapped. It just felt like that's the way it was. And then it just felt like it was let go back into everything. And I don't know what to call that. I just say it's energetic because I think that's because what Tony Parsons said, and I think he had an influence on me, but I don't know what you call that. I don't know what happened because I don't even know what that is. Like, I mean, I call it consciousness and the I amness, but I don't know. Like, how do we call that? What do we call that? Yeah. So it's the feeling of your essence being bound, but even before that happened, I had all these awakening experiences where it happened, but until it like stabilized, like I couldn't really like try to find words from it, but it just felt like my essence, so that which is beyond the personality structure, was trapped inside the body. But I wouldn't have called it trapped. It just felt like I was limited. And then it just let go and it was kind of everywhere. And then the character is still looking from this perspective, but the character is kind of like inside of it. It's no longer the character and the consciousness are looking out at the world. It's like there is this still consciousness everywhere and everything, and then there is this person inside it. But you know, people mostly describe it in totally different ways. A friend said to me she felt headless. And I know that's like a Douglas Harding way of describing it. And it took me a while to realize that we were most probably describing the same thing, because she no longer felt like she had a location, so she was just headless. And that's kind of, I could kind of get into that, but I wouldn't say that, but it just feels like I'm everywhere. It doesn't feel like I'm inside the head or behind the eyes anymore. But there's a character that's there thinking. But you know, then it also comes to the point, Arjuna, that I don't know if I'm speaking about the same thing as other non-dual speakers. Like, how would you know that? So I just have to come back to what happened here. And yeah, I've been influenced by all this non-dual speak that I've learned, but I'm not sure that it's the same experience of what other people describe. But it's freedom. It's it had such a profound effect. Like, I feel like my life would have been difficult if that hadn't happened. Yeah, so anyone else want to call in? Yeah, it's so nice to speak to people. Okay. So. Hello.
Hi, Lisa. It's just...
Hey, nice to hear from you. Just 1 second. Sorry, I just have to. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Sorry, just have to go into audio and video for Skype. Hello. Yeah, something happened with the sound. Oh man, it's me. Yeah, there's. Hello, sorry, that was me. Yeah, it was me. I didn't know what happened. Nice to hear from you.
Yes, I also am very happy to hear your voice, and yeah, and that you tried 3 times. Yeah, it's amazing. Today you answered all my questions. I was always thinking of something, and
yeah.
then some question was coming, and then the answer was there already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so I thought, yeah, just I wanted to speak to you and say that, yeah, it's those answers are reaching me, and it's very nice. I always tell people that I love to have this orientation and just yeah.
And what were the questions? Or you could just give one example of the question, and maybe we can look at it a bit more.
Okay. One question was, for example, about the anxiety or like fears coming up sometimes, like this emotional thing, and then you said it can also have a lot of like biological source.
Yeah.
Because yeah, in general you think, what is going on with the mind, and that's like the first thought. But of course, when the body is distressed all the time, it can also be there.
Yeah, and it can also be like down to nutrients and down to like hormones, which then puts the mind out of balance. So you can like have lack of minerals, for example, and then the mind goes out of balance, or the body goes out of balance, and then the mind interprets it. So the mind then projects it onto the world. So say if like the bladder, for example, there's something wrong with the bladder or the kidneys, and then there is overproduction of fear, and then the mind projects it out into the world and kind of winds itself up. So it then starts thinking about like, oh, this bad thing that could happen, and then the fear gets worse and gets more intense, and then it kind of like becomes like a chicken and egg. Like, does that their fear, then the mind, like going into fear and going into stories, does it then exaggerate the disbalance in the kidneys? You know, like the more that you think about it, does it make your kidneys more stressed? and then the kidneys being stressed then make the mind more stressed. Like
No.
we never know where things start. So you can do things to an extent with the mind, like saying, you know, this isn't true, the story you're telling yourself. But I think it's also really important to look into the body to see if there's any disbalances there, because, you know, if your kidneys or if there's a mineral out of balance and it's producing, or a hormone producing more fear, then there is something you can do to alleviate that. And you're not going to alleviate it more than likely through telling your mind that there is no fear. What you'll be able to do in the mind is stop your mind going out into all those tentacles of the fear. So stop it projecting it onto the partner, or projecting it onto work, or projecting it onto lack of money, but there'll still be that discomfort that's arising in the body. So I think it's and well, I don't know what your healthcare situation is, but I've found that blood works in Germany are very good. So like they can be really detailed, and you can get really, I mean, you have to pay a bit, I think, but not that much.
Yeah, not that much. And I was planning that, but now it's another push to go for it, and to explore it, and to use it for your benefit. It's not like and
also making sure that you get a good doctor that reads it well as well. Like I do know one in northern Germany, but I know that you're more not in that area.
Central West,
yeah. So if there's anybody that knows a good doctor for that, then they can maybe comment in the YouTube chat down below after the video. That would be good.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
North Rhine-Westphalia near Cologne. If somebody has some inspiration for that, sounds it would be nice. Yeah.
Because sometimes you get doctors that aren't very good at interpreting it. Like they're great in other areas, but they just don't go into such great detail and not so refined to it.
Yeah, and it's sometimes difficult because you don't want to tell the doctor what to do, but on the other hand, you feel like you want to go into that topic.
Yeah.
Without that.
Yeah.
Criticizing or something.
Yeah, totally. And they might not have such a holistic perspective as well, which will make them interpret it differently. So there's always different things.
Yeah, great. So now I'm motivated again.
Yeah, and you're in such a good country for it. Like we don't get that service in England. You don't always notice the different services you get in different countries. Yeah, you have
to travel around to get all the benefits.
Yeah.
But and it's really amazing to hear that what you are also like planning and everything. So it's really nice. And for the first time today, I got my notification. I was for weeks. I don't know how, but finally it worked that I got the notification for your stream. And it was like amazing, you know.
Nice.
Like those things where you think like it's never going to work.
No, I sometimes have problems with YouTube notification. I don't always get it. I know what you mean. Yeah. But, oh, cool.
So,
but I'm feeling I might go back to just streaming every Sunday like I used to, because I actually quite like that. I find that I always go to do it Sunday. I'm so trained that it's like that's what I do on Sunday. So I feel like it's going to change back to the way it used to be. Because if you might notice, I do regularly do it on Sunday, and it's not actually because I feel like I should. It's actually because I just naturally feel like that's when to do it. Like today I can't because I've got one tomorrow. My mum was here last weekend, but yeah.
So funny. But that's the good thing to take that freedom and then to find out it was actually quite almost that way before you won't notice it, and it's already synchronized with you somehow. Like, I had this church bell here sometimes, and in the beginning it was like this bell and strange, and now sometimes I know it's going to ring before it's just synchronized somehow.
It's like Khaleesi, as soon as she hears any movement of my jacket, she's at the front door. Yes.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, great.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you, and happy that your questions were answered.
Yeah, and do you know for next year is it book like sessions, or should I just check on the website, or is there any change about that?
For sessions, or for the retreat?
Yeah, like one. No, like
oh yeah, no, one-on-one sessions. No, it's the same. It's the same. Like no, like what I do is I work with regular people, but the regular people never seem to quit. Not that I want them to or anything. Like it's But I'm doing a retreat in Germany next year. It's going to go up on the website soon. Do you know Bill, who was at the last retreat? It will be at his place.
Yeah, amazing, great.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you.
Yes. Take care.
Yeah,
and
speak soon.
Lots of love.
Yeah, lots of love.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Yes, okay, so I'm going to do one last call to Naomi. And then that's the end. I've been streaming for a very long time today because I started in the other house and then it all collapsed. So I'm going to call Naomi now.
Hi.
Hey Naomi.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but you can't hear me. Hello. Are you listening to the right? Yeah, I can hear you. Are you listening to the right one? You might be listening to YouTube and you've got to listen to me on Skype.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Skype.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me. Hello. It's just to do with your Skype. I know you can hear me on YouTube, and it's like to do with your Skype settings. So if you go up to your Skype settings and you go into audio and video, you should then you need to change your speakers.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is why it was yeah, everyone's so good at Zoom now. Yeah. Maybe I try to get Zoom working in some way. It's just hard to moderate it because it's open, and that 1 in 2,000 likes to be disruptive. Yeah, just give Naomi a few minutes, a few minutes to, and then I shall move on and leave. Question, Dan. As an artist, I have received insight from the art I produce. Do you still recognize subtle development within your awareness by time? By the way, I'm Swedish, so I'm not a murderer. Dan murder. Yeah. What does murder mean in Swedish? That's funny, isn't it? these different names and meanings in different countries. Yeah, sure. My Lisa character, my character is evolving all the time. So yeah, in my art, I notice my work evolving, my mind evolving. Like it's not meant to be a finish point. Like there is this shift that happens in this waking up to the true nature, but on the character level, that's not a finish point. The character will always expand, and I'm not perfect in any way as a character. Like I feel like every teacher should be screaming like or shouting loudly like that we can always be better. I can always be better. You know, I do unconscious things, I do silly things, I act out, I do, you know, and I can always expand the way I see things, the way I view things. Of course, it's not about being a perfect person. And that's what's so sad about the cancel culture in our society that goes on at the moment. It's like you are cancelled, and it's not giving people the ability to apologize and to evolve. We're all always evolving. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, and we need that room to grow. And it's so beautiful when a society can like accept that and really accept heartfelt apologies, and then expand with that person and move on beyond that. Because given a long enough life, everybody will commit bad things, you know, like I mean, just even if you've got a short life, like it's just like, because maybe something you do in 50 years time that will be considered really negative, you know, like 50 years ago the things that they were doing, you know, maybe against black people was seen as a positive thing for society, you know, against gay people it was like, yes, these people must be controlled, so it was seen as positive. But now it's like terrible if somebody did that, or the way that women were treated. Yeah. And there's this older gentleman that I spoke with who was 16 when he fought in the Second World War with the Nazis, and then he spent like a couple of years in a war prison, I think a Russian war prison or English, I'm not sure. But, you know, he had no clue. He thought he was fighting for the good people when he fought. He had no clue what he was doing. And then he has his whole life, he has to live with that and like meet people and speak about that. Like, I mean, oh, why should he be judged on that at like 16, that comes from a society that's saying like this is what you should be doing? I mean, like he's really sorry about it now. I'm not saying that he's like still saying that, yeah, people this should be happening, but he had no idea, you know, and he feels terrible about the things that happened and that he did. Yeah, I feel like I could have walked into something disastrous there and been offensive. So if I was offensive in what I just said and not like communicating how sorry he is for the Jewish people and for anybody that was involved in the war. But I feel like it's so beautiful when we can see mistakes we've made and expand and change from that. And then with non-duality, also seeing that there is nobody that makes mistakes ultimately. We're a happening. Yes, that is a very dangerous subject that I just walked into there. I'm so sorry if I've been inappropriate, because I can grow and evolve, and I know that I can be accidentally, unconsciously racist and prejudiced and unthoughtful. So please comment below if you feel like I could have said something better there or need to apologize for something. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Hi Lisa, thank you for sharing. I love your talks. Would be nice and convenient if you would go back to Sunday afternoon again. Hi Michael. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that actually, because yeah, it seems to be when I want to stream anyway. Hello. Yeah, I think, sorry, Naomi, I think now it's my audio I have to change. you. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, thank God, I do hear you.
Yeah, nice. Fantastic. We made it work.
Yes, yes. Oh dear. I don't know. It's just it's been really hard. It's been really hard lately, and it's wild, you know. It's true. We have this character, and we also have this spirit, the oneness,
Yeah.
you know, and we're going through all these experiences, and it's just it's heartbreaking to the core sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Certain things that happen.
Yeah, totally, it is. Yeah. And that shouldn't be ignored, you know, when there's difficult things happening and when the body and the person is experiencing difficult things. It's not about repressing that. Like, it can be really difficult to be a human. So many tragedies can happen and sad things can happen.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? And it's just like, I think you come out of it, you know, understanding what unconditional love is. I think not from, you know, some people are like, well, you know, it's you know, have faith and this and that, but when you go through the trenches and when you go through it and then you are, it's kind of like you're sailing and these strong winds and this forceful tornado or hurricane is going through you and you're going right through it, and then you see the rainbow or you see the sunrise and you're experiencing it and you succumb it somehow, and you don't know how you're succumbing it, but you are, and it's just wild. It really is wild experiencing this whole human realm, you know. And with most people it is like puppets up on stage, and they're up on stage, you know, reacting to each other, and one person is telling you this to convince you of this and that so that they can be liked, and this, and it's just all these mind games. But to step out of the stage and to step out of that and to be the watcher,
yeah, we can, if you feel like it, we can do a little bit of like a meditation into that watching, but not excluding anything that's being felt or anything that's being experienced for you. But we can just like just explore that empty looking a little bit. Would you like to do that? You're also welcome to say, I don't want to do that.
No, I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
So in your experience right now, there is all these bodily sensations which include emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
And so there might be emotions of feeling like you've been through a hurricane, or feeling sadness, or this is just an example, I'm not sure what you're exactly feeling right now. And they present themselves as physical sensations in a way. And then there's the thoughts that are happening in the mind that are narrating the story to it. And that can be so intense, let alone what's happening out there, let alone like the people doing things and behaving in a certain way, and the family and the friends and the work. There is this internal world as well. And then also in this experience, there is this empty looking that's watching it all. And when the feelings are very uncomfortable and there's lots of thoughts, that can feel really remote, like really far off. And so and it can feel like you have been very rejected by that consciousness, by that life. But it's here in the very fact that there is life happening. So the fact that there is things that are able to be perceived, there must be consciousness here. So the fact that you can perceive your feelings, that you can perceive your room, you can perceive your body, there must be something watching it. And this watching isn't a feeling, so the mind wants to go to like an expansive feeling, or it wants to go to a nice, calm feeling. They can arise, but they will come and go. It's this alive presence that's watching. It's never left. And as you come more present, as there is a going back to that, the emotions can become more intense because you're really feeling them. So it's not about excluding the feelings, it's like they're really here, like they're really part of this. There might be the sadness, so you might really feel that feeling, or the chaos. What's happening in the experience, Naomi?
I feel in the allowing, in the allowing that the feelings is one layer of the totality of everything that we are.
Yeah, beautiful. And this allowing, this watching, is no places and all places. So you can't find it, but yet it's all places.
Right.
It doesn't finish at the edge of your body. It doesn't start inside or behind the brain. It's in everything that's being experienced. It is the perception of everything that's being experienced. It never leaves. It never goes. It never wants anything. It doesn't reject anything. It doesn't need it to be anyway. But yet it's an unconditioned love. And when the mind has stories, feelings have their experience, and all of it's being experienced.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not meaning to push away anything. Like that includes heartbreak, that includes chaos, that includes hurricanes. It's totally inclusive. It rejects nothing, and that's the way it has to be. So the seeking energy, like the identification with the person, is always believing it's in the personal world. So it's always in a particular way of being. But this is talking about that which is experiencing, and that rejects nothing. Nothing is rejected.
The irony is, in not rejecting it, then we can finally breathe out those tensions that we're holding inside because we've been resisting feeling them, and that's why most people are so addicted to a phone or to drugs or to work, because they can't allow it. They can't sit with the discomforts, and once you are able to sit with it, then then you see that it is one layer, one heavy layer, but it is one layer. Then it's okay. It's safe to experience it, because within experiencing it, you heal it.
Yeah, totally. The only time when that can be problematic, I say this not for you, but just for people listening, is if you're experiencing PTSD, or if you're experiencing like severe OCD, then that might need other, this might aggravate it in a way. But I just say that for everybody listening, just because I don't want somebody sitting there in a extreme trauma, yeah, if you've ever experienced extreme PTSD, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like absolute acceptance without it being something you do, even though it seems like it's something you do, because